Nigeria's war against insurgency and other forms of internal insurrection by rogue actors in the northeastern parts of the country has lasted for more than a decade. The sheer cost of that military campaign in human and material terms has been huge, and resources, local and international, are of the view that rather than decrease, the theater of that war continues to expand beyond the capabilities of government forces. Experts have called this war an asymmetrical one, a situation where most of the non-state actors have found it easy to mix up with the local population while launching targeted and strategic attacks on the military. After initial hesitation, the Nigerian government has tried to solve this problem by co-opting the assistance of local vigilantes for mostly the purpose of reconnaissance. For a discussion around this, we're now being joined from our Abuja studio by Dr. Usman Mohammed Jahun, Commandant General of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria. Good morning, sir. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Jahun, for joining us. Very quickly, for the benefit of persons who may be hearing of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria for the first time, would you like to tell us what is special about this Vigilante Group of Nigeria, and how is it different from the Nigeria Police? How is it different from civil defense? And why should it be considered a strategic unit in Nigeria? Is it another Amotekun, or this is just a volunteer group?
Thank you very much. Vigilante Group is a registered voluntary security organization, registered to complement and supplement the effort of the Nigerian police force and all other security agencies in the country. We've been doing our job supporting the Nigerian police, whose primary responsibility is internal security. The military as well, we supported them we are supporting them, especially in the present insurgency happening in the northeast and some other parts of the country. And it's a community-based security organization. We have our presence in all the nooks and crannies of this country, all the 774 local government areas, all the ward and villages. So it's a very good strategy, and it's a unique informal policing system that requires, that is good for this country, because we're everywhere, our ears are there, our eyes are there, and we are very good in informing the virus security agencies in the areas of informing them on their virus security issues, be it the Nigerian police, the armed forces, the SSS, and all other security agencies. We supported them by giving the relevant information that has to do with their own responsibility as a formal security agencies. Even the civil defense, we work together with all these security agencies.
When you say relevant information, is that intelligence gathering?
Yes, intelligence gathering at the grassroots, within the communities and upward to the national level. We source for intelligence from our communities, and we pass it through the appropriate security agencies. Because the police have their own intelligence, the one that we can refer to, the police. We have the intelligence that we can refer to the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps. We have an intelligence that we can refer to NAPTIP, to NAPDAC, and all other security agencies as well. So it's an intelligence gathering and proper dissemination.
Okay, intelligence gathering and proper dissemination. I just want to get a clear distinction. Is it different from local vigilante formations, across villages and states of Nigeria? Are these the members of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, or those are other vigilante formations? And though some of them bear arms. So I just want to know the distinction between you and them, since you're saying it's intelligence gathering.
Yes, it's intelligence gathering. Most of the vigilante we have nationwide, they are under the umbrella of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria. And from our uniform, you know that if he's a registered member of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, he was this uniform we are using. And if he's not a member of Vigilante, maybe he's recruited within his community and without registration. And those bearing arms, I want to believe that in some part of the country, like the Northeast, some are allowed to work with the police and the military. And if you look at the way they operate, you cannot go into the forest. You cannot go into Sambisa without arms. However, the arms is being controlled by either the military or the police. But within the communities and around, we don't carry arms. We are not allowed to carry arms, and we don't use arms. Mainly what we do is intelligence gathering and dissemination and joint operations or joint patrol with other security agencies.
Well, Dr. Jahun, I mean, shouldn't we be concerned that we have this multiplicity of units, security units? This was how civil defense started. Somebody came up, organized a group across the country, said we are volunteer security persons, and then at the end of the day, the federal government gave them a stamp of approval and they became official. I see this vigilante group also following the same route. Then you also have what is called neighborhood watch in different parts of the country. So we just see people just set up their own units. And I know that vigilante group, you already approached the president, President Buhari, asking that your group should be formalized so that you take up community policing responsibilities of the Nigeria police. Have you had any response from the presidency with regard to that? And why do you want to become a formal unit in charge of community policing?
Thank you very much. The community policing aspect, before now, even before the advent of community policing in 2004, by former president, launching of the community policing by former president Olusegun Obasanjo, the vigilante group has been existing. The neighborhood watch has been existing. The hunters association has been existing. So these are organizations that bridge the gap between the formal policing agencies and the communities. So generally, members of the vigilante group, as we said, we are everywhere and we are working with the security agencies. Now, Nigeria is a populated country with a projection of over 200 million or thereabouts. And the security agencies we have, from what we're hearing from the security agencies, both the armed forces, the police themselves, and all other security agencies, they're not up to 1 million. How can 1 million personnel be able to police the whole country? That is why we came out to complement the efforts of the security agencies. Now, looking at the kind of job we are doing and the risk involved in providing security, we felt it that we cannot get any support. We don't have support from places, but we felt the only way we can have support is maybe through the budget. And we cannot be supported through the budget without legislation. That is why we rushed to the National Assembly, the 8th National Assembly, both the Senate and House of Reps, and our bill was passed and was presented to Mr. President, waiting for Mr. President's asset. We may not be or want to be like the former security agencies like the civil defense and whatever, but at least that recognition should be there and the support should be there. We lost a lot of people in the course of this job. As a lot of people are in the hospital. How do we now, as leaders, be able to say, okay, how do we support them? How do we give them, get their assurance cover and whatever? So the best thing for us is to have legislation where we can be supported. And you saw in some states, about 26 states in the Federation have a legislation within their local state houses of assembly that for the vigilante group in their states. So if we have that legislation at the federal level, it will cover all. Security is not enough as far as Nigeria is concerned. Our borders, internally, and the nooks and crannies of this country, all within the communities. So if a legislation is passed, a bill, the law is passed, and we have a legislation, I think it will be better for this country. Looking at the work we are performing in both the Northeast, Northwest, and all other parts of the country.
Thank you very much for volunteering, and commend you for the work that you do, stepping up to fill what you see is a yawning gap. But you just said now that there's state houses of assembly that have given you legislative backing. Does your funding come from state governments? I want to talk about funding. Can you tell us how your group is funded? And also, since you have this front row seats to our security lapses, where do you stand on the federal or state policing divide? Do you think we should have state police?
The legislation passed by the State House of Assembly is to support and regulate the activities of vigilante group within their own states. And with that, they are also supporting the vigilante group in their states with operational vehicles, with uniforms, with stipends, because we cannot call it salary, with stipends. And that is what we also want at the national level. But sometimes the state government will provide vehicles, but they will not provide money for fueling. They will not provide money for servicing. So this is the problem we are having. But if we have a central support, we'll be able to say, okay, State A has donated so number of vehicles for vigilante group in their own states. How do we support those states with provision of, with fueling, with maintenance of those vehicles? Then the issue of state policing. If you look at the system of policing in America, most of the states in America, they have state police, apart from the central police. Now, coming to Nigeria, the system may be okay, but I think the most important thing now for us in this country is not to yearn for state police. Is to see how we can even reform the Nigerian police itself. Because we have issues within the police cycle. So how will the police be reformed? That is one. And also to strengthen the community policing system. The community policing system must be strengthened. Let us see how it works before we say, okay, let us move on to have state police. Because there should be a difference between community policing and state police. State police is solely owned and managed by the state government, while the community policing is also can be managed at the national level, but will be monitored at the state level and the local government level. So I think here we should improve on the community policing aspect, supporting the informal policing organizations or systems in the country, the vigilante group, the neighborhood watch associations, the Hunters Association, the Civilian JTF, all these informal organizations should be supported, should be reorganized, should be, at least there should be a legislation. The legislation we sent to the National Assembly is not for a vigilante group alone. All other security, informal security agencies should be brought into the system. So all of us will be one, and we are going to support and complement and support the effort of Nigerian security system.
Jahun, Commandant General of the Vigilante Group of Nigeria, for joining us on the morning show. Thank you very much indeed.